I mentioned that in the 1950s, there seemed to be a lot of things happening, that things were moving on. And we enjoyed living where we did. We did like living beside the sea, but there was one time when it wasn't so good. And another event that was very memorable was the flood, the massive flood and storm that happened on the 31st of January 1953. I'll try to tell you a few things, if I can explain. A massive storm came across Scotland and into the North Sea, and this somehow pushed up a massive wall of water, a bit like a tsunami does. It pushed up this water higher above its normal level, and this massive wave swept down the North Sea. And when it got to the land between the continent and England narrowed, this huge wave smashed over the sea defences into the low areas of the Holland and England, which is killing many people. There was over 800 killed in Holland, and there's over 300 in England, as the low areas got covered in flood, or at least near the sea did. And I said it's very strange this experience. We'd gone out the night before to the station to meet my sister who'd been away, and the wind was so strong you could hardly walk against it. But then we went back to bed, we went back home and slept through the night, not realising what was happening. Because the flood, we were incredibly lucky, as seemed to happen so many times in my life. We were so lucky somehow. The flood came, even somewhat a small amount, into the next field to a field next to our house. But it didn't reach us, actually. Yeah. We didn't know what was happening. When I looked out of I looked out of a window near my bedroom on the landing, and I felt there was something different about what I could see, which normally was just really the line of beach huts. We weren't far back from the beach sea, but we weren't very right. About half a mile or so from the beach, and something looked different. I couldn't work out what from that. So I went down and tried to find out, and discovered that the railway that ran close to our house was blocked by a pile of beach huts which had been swept there by the flood, and beyond that point you couldn't go at that point then. But it turned out that some of the other bungalows, some of which were lived in throughout the year, some of them had been swept away, and also some barges that had been converted into holiday home places, and they'd been swept across the fields too. And I said, as far as I recall, about 12 people were killed in our place that we hadn't known was happening, and in the next places, I think like Snetcham next was, and Heacham the other side, I think there'd been more like 20 people killed. And so it went on all around the east side of England. Even the rise in water levels, which I think was, I'm just trying to remember, but I think that it was about 12 foot higher than any normal flood tide. or lazy, whatever they call them. You'd have occasional high tides, but only once in a few hundred years does a storm like this happen. The last one had been said several hundred years ago on the west of England somewhere. And as I said, even the places in the Thames, even when the water got to the Thames, it flooded. Some areas on each side of the Thames were flooded as well. And that's why the Thames barrier was built. That does regulate some high tides already, but we haven't had another storm like that. Anyway, I didn't mean to say so much, but it was a major event.